Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Emerging Viewpoints. I'm Nick Stoppmiller. Today we're joined by Olena Sotnyk to discuss Ukraine's integration into Europe. Olena is advisor to a deputy prime minister of Ukraine. She was a member of the Verkhovna Rada, Ukraine's parliament, from 2014 to 2019, where she was secretary of the Committee on European Integration. She was also a member of the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe and was chair of PACE's Committee on Legal Affairs and Human Rights. Following her time in Parliament, Olena was a 2019 World Fellow at Yale University. Olena, welcome.
Thank you, and good afternoon, good morning, everyone.
So, the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen early this month personally delivered a questionnaire to President Volodymyr Zelensky as part of Ukraine's application process to join the EU. And she announced an intention to present Ukraine's application for EU candidate status to the European Council this summer. This has led to speculation that Ukraine could join the EU on an accelerated timetable. More recently, however, the Austrian foreign minister said on Sunday that he does not believe Ukraine should be admitted to the bloc. What is Kiev's perspective on these developments, and do you think it's realistic for Ukraine to expect to join the EU in the next couple of years?
Of course, first of all, we need to take into account the whole unity among this question in Ukrainian society, among Ukrainians. More than 86% now really want and they expect that Ukraine would join the EU. So it is the biggest number since the whole history of Euro integration of Ukraine. I want a little bit elaborate on some leaders' comments on this. I mean, some European leaders' comments, which you just mentioned. You know, I think that some of them just don't want to realize that we are living in a new reality. And this new reality, it is about like two options. We just have two scenarios. We are living in the period when some particular actors, and for example, Russia, they're trying to destroy, first of all, international order and security order, which many of these countries, I mean European countries, European Union countries, they used to, and they've been taking them for granted for many years. And they believe that it is going to continue without any efforts and without any sacrifices. No, it's not true. Ukraine now fighting for the whole Europe, not just for our freedom and for our sovereignty, but for the whole Europe, and to keep this security and international order on the ground. That's why, first of all, Ukraine deserves this membership, and the second, I think that Ukraine would be a new impulse for even reformation of European Union, because as far as many of you know, that not all the European citizens very happy with bureaucracy which European Union brought for the last decade. That's why new energy and people who really committed to European values, you know, not just stipulated them in the documents, but also committed and already with their not just efforts, but their lives show to the whole world that we are Europeans, and European values is not just words for us. It's something very important. And here I need just to remind all that Article 49 of the Treaty on the European Union states that any European country can apply for membership, provided it respects the European values laid in Article 2. And just to remind that these values, according to the Article 2, it is democracy, human rights, dignity, equality, freedom, and the rule of law. And I think that's all the list which Ukrainians now fighting on the forefronts, dying in Mariupol and in other cities of Ukraine.
So you touched on some of the requirements of membership into the European Union. And Olena, you have considerable experience working with European institutions and understand well the legal and institutional reforms that Ukraine must complete as part of the EU accession process.
Mhm.
Can you please give us an overview of some of the key changes that Ukraine has made in its legal framework in recent years to conform to EU norms, and what additional reforms Ukraine must undertake to join the EU?
Yes, of course. First of all, I know that people shouldn't follow really, all the process of Euro integration of Ukraine into the European Union. But just for everybody to know, the European Union and Ukraine, we have like each year so annual assessment of all the progress of Euro integration according to the agreement, association agreement, and just like fresh assessment in January was made, and according to this assessment, more than 60% of association agreement, all the reforms in association agreement. Have been already implemented by Ukraine. So it means significant Euro integrational process after more than 8 years of signing the association agreement has been made. So mainly it is changes in, first of all, trade regulations, energy market. Also, it is infrastructure, it is agriculture, and some very narrow sectoral reforms. But there are a lot of changes in digital market. There are a lot of changes in, for example, government and administrational procedures, and I would say significant success in decentralization. We still lacking, of course, some really I would say effective reforms in judicial sphere, but I believe that what is happening now in Ukraine, from even the spirit of justice, would bring a lot of changes into the judicial reforms, because not just institutions should be changed, but also attitude, philosophy, and mentality could be changed by some dramatic situations. And that's what is happening with Ukraine now. After 2 months, yes, I can tell you that from the high authorities to just basic level, people there really changing a lot in their just thinking about justice, about the rule of law, about the human rights. And when we are talking about war crimes of Russian Federation, when we are talking about abusing of the basic human rights, we are not just, feeling that it is something uh, like not realistic. We know what does it mean. We know the meaning of these words. That's why I think that the next step uh, to meet the Copenhagen criteria, fully meet Copenhagen criteria, they would be very rapid, and Ukraine within like several years could make a huge progress in fulfilling this last 40% of association agreement. And my last point on this, so it it has been signed many association agreements during the last decades, with Albania, with Georgia, Moldova, Ukraine, Poland, which is now European Union, and many other countries which now became the members of European Union. And if you compare these agreements, Ukrainian association agreement is one of the most comprehensive association agreements, and taking into account that we had war since 2014 because Russian first annexed Crimea, then they invaded Donbass, and in 2022, in February, they launched this large-scale war. But all these years of war in Ukraine, with a lot of challenges to investments, to our economy, building new army absolutely from the scratch after Yanukovych and previous authorities, which destroyed our security system and our military system. So taken into consideration all this, Ukraine was capable also to fulfill all this very, I would say, difficult, very complex and difficult reforms, and we could do this. It means that to meet the criteria within several years is absolutely realistic for Ukraine. I'm not talking this as like politician or just dreamer or believer in Ukraine, but I'm talking this from perspective of lawyer and from perspective of person who used to work with harmonization Ukrainian legislation into EU legislation. Technically, it's absolutely realistic.
And what exactly are the key benefits for Ukraine in joining the EU? Is it mostly economic, or are the improvements in governance and institutional development more important? And how would Ukraine benefit from being a candidate for EU membership, even if it doesn't join the bloc eventually?
Mm-hmm. First of all, here let's start from political, some political perspectives. I believe that guarantee of the membership should be one of the important conditions of peaceful resolution of war which Russians started against Ukraine, because we realize that it's not just like Ukraine and Russia. Russia is trying to rebuild the whole political system in Europe, and of course, European Union should be actively involved in peaceful resolution, in peacekeeping for the future. So, from the point of view of benefits, of course, if we are talking about the future rebuilding and restoring of Ukraine, definitely we would need all the help and support of our European neighbors, and like building this from the very beginning on the principles of European Union, standards of European Union, and rules of European Union. We are like just skipping this, uh, like we are skipping this part of or one more step when we would need to rebuild this in order to fulfill the criteria. So we can meet two goals at the same time. We can rebuild Ukraine after the Russian war in Ukraine, and we could build Ukraine from the very beginning on the European Union principles. It is the first and I would say basic interest of Ukraine. Second, which is also very important, it is the role of Ukraine for European Union. First of all, we already have proven to the whole world that the Ukrainian army is absolutely capable to stand against, namely said, or how it used to be considered, to the second the strongest army in the world. And it means that our defensive system is very resilient, and absolutely it is a part of the guarantee for the security for the whole European Union, which in this new reality, which I mentioned from the very beginning, is very important. So it's not just Ukraine asking or to grant us this European Union membership. No, we are given very important benefits to European Union. We are forefront of the European security, and we already proven that we are stable and absolutely reliable forefront. First, and second, and here I'm absolutely realistic. If Ukraine I hope never, but if Ukraine someday could be defeated by any enemy, also, of course, and first of all, Russia, it would be a disaster for the whole Europe because we are not the only goal of Russian Federation. Yes, we are the first step, we are the first priority. Putin absolutely obsessed with destroying Ukrainians, but he has a general strategy to destroy the whole European system and to destabilize it. So Ukraine is a guarantee. And the second, which is also very important, it is economic perspectives of Ukraine. Ukraine has a lot of benefits to propose. First of all, our labor market, high qualified, and now it used to be a joke, but now it's seriously our people absolutely they like. Can cope with any stress, and they can cope with any challenges, and they can react very quickly to any changes, which is in new world, not stable world, is very important. And the last one, which is also going to be very important for the future of the world, it is food security. Ukraine, one of the key players of in this system of food security, and I'm sure that in the future, when the ecology is going to become worse, it would be even more crucial role for the whole Europe, at least, of this food security. And I'm not going to list everything, but there are a lot of other things like digital market, which is growing. Of course, energy potential is still there. A lot of raw materials which could be used for the innovative systems, for innovative productions. And one more thing, yes, we now absolutely in a position where we don't know how much our crucial infrastructure would be destroyed, and what kind of efforts we would need to restore all this. But at the same time, we are very optimistic. That's why maybe Ukrainians can survive in any circumstances, because we keep going, we're still optimistic about our country, and we believe that if we are going to rebuild even some cities from the scratch, we can rebuild them according to the new standards, for example, of green transition, of energy efficiency, and many other like standards, which like new era just bringing us. And this is also very important, because Ukraine could be example of the country with an absolutely new European face, new European energy, and with the ideology where European values are not just words, but it is actions.
So you talked about the importance of support for Ukraine from European partners, and Ukraine has received strong support from many European partners since Russia invaded your country. Although the level of support from individual countries within the EU has varied, Poland and the Baltic states, for example, have been especially strong partners and advocates of Ukraine as it battles Russian aggression. Can you please tell us about how Ukraine cultivates European support as you navigate relationships with the EU as a bloc and at the same time bilateral relationships with individual countries, and how important is that EU relationship versus those individual bilateral relations?
Uh, First of all, we need to take into consideration that the European Union is its union with the deep integration of the members, but it doesn't mean that all the issues decided within the European Union institutions. That's why you can cooperate closely with European Union, but at the same time, any bilateral relation they are needed, and it is a separate strategy for any country. So that's why Ukraine, we are building both, like we are building deep relations with EU institutions, and we are relying on many issues of the, for example, in case of policies, financial support, institutional building support, but at the same time, we are like providing and we are trying to build strong relations with just European countries separately. And after Russian war in Ukraine started, I think that we've got a new chance to build these bilateral relations deeper, because many countries reconsider Ukraine from the positive perspective. For example, we could reestablish our relations with such countries where we had difficulties for last several years. For example, Poland. Poland now demonstrate unbelievable support to Ukrainians, not just moral support, but it is everywhere. They are helping with refugees, they are helping military, they are helping politically. Also, we have a range of our reliable partners which are helping us in euro integration and which supporting us and pushing other European member states towards this status of candidate, and also then accelerate receiving of the membership status, like Baltic states. Of course, I'm talking first of all about Baltic states and some other countries. At the same time, of course, we have still difficulties with some countries which are far away from the Ukrainian borders, and maybe for them it is hard to realize what is a new reality, and they still want to live with a stable life, kissing on the benches and just enjoying all the benefits of European stability. But the world already has changed, and it's not because of Ukraine, and it's because the European countries, they didn't want to realize in the past that there is a huge risk of Russian invasion in the future, and there have been all the evidences around, like starting from Moldova, Georgia, then Crimea, then Donbass in Ukraine. So there have been all the evidences, and they've been just ignoring them. So with these countries, so of course, all these bilateral relations and bringing them to the reality, and just trying them to help to reconsider our arguments which we gave 7-8 years ago, like, guys, look here, it's impossible to ignore. So of course Ukraine builds different kind of connections, but first of all we are thinking from a perspective of deep economic integration. Of course, we are thinking about attracting investments. Also, some countries which had to close their facilities and close maybe even productions in the Russian Federation because of the Russian war in Ukraine, they would have chance to relocate their facilities into Ukraine after the like after the war, when we would defeat Putin, and we will definitely do this. So and also they could enjoy the whole range of other opportunities in Ukraine. And that's, I think, this positive agenda which Ukraine also started to propose is also very important, because the whole range of investments into restoring the Ukraine, rebuilding the Ukraine would be there. So starting from the huge infrastructural projects, but also rebuilding of productions and rebuilding the whole cities, residential houses, humanitarian infrastructure, some critical infrastructure. It would be huge investments. It would need a huge investment, and there are many countries could participate. That's why now building these new relations with like new understanding, what does it mean Ukraine, what kind of resilience Ukrainians can show, and how they could be really persistent in many aspects. I think it brings new understanding of opportunities. First of all, economic opportunities of these countries in our country, and second one, it brings also reconsideration of external politics. So before, they've been trying to find how to persuade Russia not to be aggressive, and now they need to find the way how to strengthen the borders between Russia and Europe, and mainly it is Ukrainian borders, in order to build a really strong, resilient forefront. And in the future, like in case if Russia some other day will decide to invade our country or any other country, we will definitely have a strong opposition, and we would be capable to defend European borders. That is very important, I think, from political perspective.
And finally, can you please tell us what your vision for Ukraine's place within Europe is, both in the midst of fighting the war against Russian aggression and after the war has concluded?
Yeah, I've already mentioned this. First of all, Ukraine is a key to post-war European security system. As I said, strong Ukraine means strong forefront and like some guarantee, more or less reliable guarantee in the future. Second one, I think that Ukraine is already playing, but is going to play a crucial role in this food security chains and food security system. Also, as I told you, Ukraine is going to bring huge opportunities to investment to European countries in terms of rebuilding process, but also in terms of new opportunities, and also like European Union, in case if we are going to get the membership. European Union is not just, economic, of course, union. It is also political union, and union which brings general rules. And I think the rules and more or less predictability, it is the main preconditions for any investments and for any economic cooperation. That's why this future Ukrainian membership in EU, and I hope it's going to happen not later than 2025. That's my prediction. That's what I'm going personally to be committed and insistive on. Then it means that new big country, new big market, and also new big field of opportunities. is going to join EU. And the last and very important thing, it is ideology. You know, many very good ideas, projects, and systems, they are dying because they are lacking the spirit, they are lacking the ideology and narrative. And Ukraine is a fresh blood for European Union. Ukrainian is a fresh, if you want, fresh air for the European Union, which is given some hope and perspective for the humanity and for like just new kind of nation where people really know why they united under the flag, under the constitution, and under the name of their country, not just because they have passports, but because they have beliefs in their country and they really appreciate the land and they can fight for their land. It's very crucial for the future, especially when we are living in digital, very virtual world where material things they are becoming less and less important, and we are losing this connection between reality and really important things and this virtual, absolutely not important values. So I think that Ukraine can bring back this spirit if you want new religion where humanity is the main one.
Olena, thank you very much for your thoughts today.
You're welcome. And Slava Ukraini!